What's going on, guys? It's Adam P. Hope things are well. Welcome back. And I can't believe I am saying this, but Arne Slot has called out Newcastle United last night after his 5-1 win in the Champions League against Frankfurt. He's decided just to mouth Newcastle off in the press conference. He was asked a question about Isak, and then for some reason just mouth Newcastle off. I don't know why, but we're going to get to the bottom of it. If you guys are new around here, of course, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button. It is free to do so, and it helps out massively with the channel. So please, if you haven't done so already, get down there and do that so you stay updated of whenever I upload my videos. Going through Liverpool's season, of course, secretly in the background, I'm not going to deny it, I have been keeping a close eye on Alexander Isak. I've not been mentioning him in videos because I don't want to be that ex that just can't let it go. We have let it go. Nick Watermart's came and done well. Yes, in the Premier League, our results haven't been the best, but we have got it together now. Huge win in the Champions League against Benfica, and I would still argue, despite the behaviour and just the entire situation this summer, I still think Newcastle's got out of it well. You got £130 million, £125 million transfer fee, and then the £5 million in loyalty bonuses, which Newcastle is allowed to keep. Liverpool got themselves a striker who has not been performing. You can bang on all you want about this summer pre-season thing where he hasn't trained. Arne Slot said before the Manchester United game, you could start to judge Isak now. Well, I am judging him now. He dropped a stinker against Manchester United, played 45 minutes yesterday, dropped the stinker, and then went off with a groin injury. So, what do you want me to say, Arne? You said judge him now. I am judging him now. He's crap. He is absolute garbage, and he just has not been clicking at all at Liverpool, where he's no longer the main focal point. Got world-class players around, and he's just a man now. He's a man in a team now. He's no longer at Newcastle. He was one of the top dogs. He was one of the main guys we had. It's just not like that at Liverpool. It's a massive transition change, and he's not playing well at all. He scored one goal in his last 10 games in all competitions, including the national team. The one goal against Southampton is his only goal since joining Liverpool. That is a literal £125 million goal so far in his Liverpool career. And I don't want to spend the video bashing Isak because I think that's the easy thing to do. It's so easy to go into this guy and just to bash him based on his performances because he's not obviously been great. But I'm more interested in the Arne Slot comments from the game. Yes, it's why I've been making this video. He's actually went and got asked a question about Isak's fitness, and he said he can't compare this guy to having no pre-season at a smaller club. How arrogant and how pathetic do you have to be? Do I need to remind you which team won against you in the Carabao Cup final a few months ago? You can call us a smaller club all you want. It's a complete lack of respect. Liverpool fans watching this video, I'm not denying it. Yes, Liverpool are a bigger football club than Newcastle. Of course they are. But as a manager and as a staff member at a football club, respect's always something I feel like you should be doing to our clubs, and to come out and a question that, while it is somewhat directed towards Newcastle, it's a question about Isak. There's no mention of Newcastle at all, and he's decided to then name drop the smaller club dig at Newcastle. I mean, where's this nice bloke that was so lovely at Newcastle after the cup final? Because I'm not saying it here. It's a real bitter comment. In my personal opinion, my interpretations are he seems to think it's Newcastle's fault because Isak's not match fit. It's not our fault. Liverpool fans seem to feel this way as well. It is not our fault. It was not us who was refusing to train. It was not us who was refusing to play. Anyhow, on several occasions, it made it clear the door was always open for Isak to come back into the team. As a professional player, as a contracted player, your job is to play and train regardless of whether you want to be at a football club or not. He didn't do that. He refused to play. He went out of his way to go on strike. He's not match fit because him and his agent have decided to go against that and then to make themselves in a vulnerable situation. So when they joined Liverpool, they weren't ready to go straight away. And especially a club like Liverpool with real quality and real depth, if you aren't ready to go straight away, you will realise the hard way what was going to happen. He was naive and arrogant, in my opinion. I felt like he assumed he was just going to cakewalk the Premier League, even not match fit. He's realised that's not the case. It's a good league. There's good players in this league, and it's not worked out for him. And I feel like the Arne Slot negative opinion towards Newcastle is that he seems to think it's our fault that this guy was misbehaving. He was the one that went in Spain by himself. He was the one that was putting stupid statements on social media after, by the way, after the PFA Awards. He's done it because he was unable to attend the PFA Awards. So just not even towards Newcastle fans, just out of, I guess, him not being in the centre of attention at an awards ceremony. He's then responded on social media and put out these statements about Newcastle United. It's his fault. You have to say it's his undoing. Of course it is. And for the manager to then come out and call Newcastle United a smaller club in this press conference, just to take a literal dig at an entire football club because of this Isak saga. I mean, who the hell do you think you are, honest? Like, seriously, who do you think you are? It's a complete lack of respect, and yeah, I didn't like it at all. I'm not going to go into it too much more because, again, it is just a comment towards Newcastle. But yeah, he outright called Newcastle United a smaller club in the press conference. Yeah. Listen, I would love nothing more, by the way, than for us to continue proving these doubters wrong. It was a couple of years ago, all these people are coming out, Newcastle, the takeover is going to fail, you aren't going to do well in the Champions League, you're never going to win a trophy, you're going to stay in this massive trophy drought. Hasn't happened. We're being able to do that. We'll perform well in the Champions League now. Of course, we've got loads of games to get through, but Newcastle's certainly a team that's in there, and despite the takeover, you've got to remember, it's been 4 years. 4 years is not a long time. And in those 4 years, Newcastle before the takeover and Newcastle now, there's a real difference. Jose Mourinho said it himself after the game against Benfica. Our bench was a real decisive killer against them. It was just the quality we've got now is so much better. Once we click, and I think we will click, Newcastle would then be a real team. And I think with this team now, especially when Wissa comes in, he hasn't even came in yet. You talk about the Isak stuff. The guy we signed on deadline day hasn't even touched the ball for Newcastle yet. He's still out injured. I think once Wissa comes back in, he got real quality there. And I think Newcastle are going to do well. But yeah, I just want to direct this part of the video towards Arne Slot. I did actually do a live interview on TV yesterday. Of course, talk about the Benfica game. So I feel like it's appropriate to put this in the video as well. I don't want to just direct this negativity, but I'm not happy he's made those comments about Newcastle. It's not on there. It's not on for an opposition manager to do that. He was very respectful towards Newcastle. The Liverpool fans watching this video were all respectful towards Newcastle after the cup final. Despite this Isak back and forth in the summer, I still feel like Newcastle and Liverpool fans should have that mutual respect for each other. I feel like there is a lot of animosity and a lot of toxicity because of the stuff in the summer, which I don't think is fair on both sides. Like, all it's been is a transfer saga. I think Newcastle's done well despite losing the player, so I'm happy with it. I'm happy how things are went. Isak's obviously not doing well at the minute. We'll see that changes, but of course that groin injury could be out for a few games yet. We shall see. But I'm going to show you my interview now as I talked heavily about the Benfica win on live TV.
Now, joining us is content creator and not a stranger to the show is Adam Pearson. Welcome.
Thank you for having me back on. It's great to be on, and I'm certainly in a good mood after watching the Champions League last night at St James's Park.
Definitely. Now, is this performance a sign that Newcastle might now be equipped to challenge more consistently at this level and against maybe tougher opponents? Is this the confidence booster you think Newcastle needs to go on? Because looking at their upcoming fixtures, they have quite a lot of challenges lined up for them.
Well, I think so in terms of confidence. Now, when you look at Newcastle so far this season, I don't think the performances and the results have truly reflected the quality of our team, because I think Newcastle's team is full of quality, and yet results haven't truly reflected that. So in the Champions League against Benfica, especially the reaction in the second half to come out and just to properly dominate the second half against, admittedly, what was still a decent side with a lot of European experience. It is finally the performance I've been waiting for all season from Newcastle. Real sign of ambition, just going for them. Despite winning the game 3-0, I felt like we could have scored way more goals as well. Newcastle was so much better in that second half, and that's finally what I've been waiting to see all season long.
Well, we saw where Anthony Gordon, he seems to be picking up because we see him scoring, well, not consecutively, but consistently. And also with Harvey Barnes, the game that he had. So looking at these two, is it safe to say that Newcastle, maybe you can trust them more to be getting the job done?
Well, yeah, I would say so. It's not even just the players themselves. I think when you look at Newcastle's performance, all of our options out wide, all four of them haven't scored a single goal in the Premier League this season. Anthony Gordon scored 4 goals in the Champions League now. He's the first ever Newcastle United player who's scored in 3 consecutive Champions League matches. Of course, had a man-of-the-match performance yesterday against Benfica. Harvey Barnes came off the bench on the opposite side. He normally plays on the left-hand side. Stu scored 2 goals. And then your goalkeeper, Nick Pope's actually thrown the ball 65 yards to get an assist. It was truly a spectacle to watch in our point of view. We're finally different players on the team are scoring. It's not all fully dependent on Nick Waltemore. We've got other players in the team that are now performing, scoring goals, and we need to see that in the Premier League because none of these players at all have been able to score in the Premier League. So we just need to see it on a more consistent basis.
Hi, Adam. Gary here. Nice to speak to you. Quickly, the Jose Mourinho effect, it seemed extremely hyped up, especially in that part of the country. It was quickly subdued, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, Jose Mourinho has always got that connection with Newcastle there because of Sir Bobby Robson, so it's a chance for him to come back to St James's Park. I think deep down Mourinho just knew in the second half the real quality Newcastle had, and for him it was just a losing battle. I think once the second goal went in, he was never ever going to get back into the game, and he knew going into Newcastle, he knew based on his experience playing at so many different football clubs, coming to St James's Park, he never ever had a good record at St James's Park in the first place, and in the Champions League. As good as I love Jose Mourinho, of course, had real success with Paul and Inter Milan in the competition, but he knew coming in there yesterday, especially with the bench, he spoke incredibly well about us in the press conference. He just knew deep down he was never ever going to beat Newcastle. Truly,
so you think it was a quality issue, basically? It wasn't a coaching issue, like player for player, pound for pound. Newcastle were simply better.
I think so, yeah. It doesn't matter who's in charge of that Benfica team yesterday. I just think when you look at the teams on paper, when you watch the teams perform, I think Newcastle is a good step ahead of Benfica, and I think the bench was the real decisive moment for that because you see Newcastle bringing players like Harvey Barnes on. He subbed a player on, he scored 2 goals. Like, what is Benfica supposed to do about that? They just haven't got the quality to be able to deal with Newcastle.
Right. So, big picture thinking. I mean, Eddie Howe, Newcastle, Champions League. Yesterday was Benfica, not the biggest opponent, and like you said, the quality was not there. How far, realistically, do Geordies think Eddie Howe can take them in the competition this season?
Well, I certainly would imagine, and I would hope that Newcastle can get to the knockout phase of the competition. It just depends on who you get, because, for example, you could get Real Madrid in the first knockout game. I wouldn't expect us to beat Real Madrid, but. Well, I personally would love to go to the Bernabeu on a personal level as a fan. I'd be attending the games, and I would love to be in Madrid. However, I would like Newcastle to have a good enough run where you could get far in the competition in terms of making revenue because you bring more money into the football club. But I want to see Newcastle compete as well. I think against Barcelona, yes, we lost 2-1 at St James's Park, but I want to see the team be able to take these sort of clubs on. I wouldn't say we're a million miles away from these teams either. I think Newcastle does have quality there, and in a good day could potentially beat these sort of sides. But of course, that's a big asking point for Newcastle. I would rather us get some nice enough ties, but it's too early to say. It quite literally depends on what team you would get in the knockout phase of the competition. But I think, especially watching Aston Villa last season, they got to the quarter-final. Now they lost to PSG, who won the entire competition. They can get far. I think Newcastle can get far as well. It's up to us to do that. Let's just get to the knockout phase first before we start to theorise and speculate on where the club could actually get to.
Nice one, thanks.
Well, thank you so much, Adam, for taking the time to speak to us, and hopefully we can have you on again.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.